You've just boarded your dream cruise. The dining room looks dazzling, the buffet stretches endlessly, and you assume every meal is designed for you to indulge without limits. But behind the polished silverware and smiling waiters are secrets the cruise lines desperately hope you'll never figure out. From hidden menus to insider crew perks you're locked out of, your dining experience is carefully controlled in ways most passengers never realize. Stay tuned, because secret number 7 is so shocking, even the most loyal cruisers refuse to believe it. Number 1, the hidden crew-only buffet. Most passengers think the buffet you see is the only one on board, but here's the truth. The crew has their very own hidden buffet, and it's stocked with fresher, often better options than what you'll ever find. You're walking through the Carnival buffet late in the afternoon. The salad bar is half empty, the pizza trays look tired, and that tropical fruit you were craving is nowhere in sight. Meanwhile, just below deck, crew members are enjoying crisp watermelon, perfectly ripe papaya, and trays of fresh fish that never made it upstairs. A guest once spotted this during a behind-the-scenes tour and realized instantly, passengers aren't always getting the best cuts. Why does this matter for you? Because the food you see isn't necessarily all that's available. Cruise lines have to ration supplies, and the freshest produce often gets allocated carefully. That means by the time you hit the buffet, what you're eating could be a downgrade from what the crew had hours earlier. But here's the insider move. Don't wait until the buffet looks picked over. Dine early, especially at breakfast and lunch, when the freshest items are brought out. And if you want something specific like fresh fruit or better cuts of meat, politely ask your waiter in the dining room. Many times, they'll bring you something off-menu that most cruisers never even realize exists. Number 2. Secret menus in the main dining room. Most cruisers think the dining room menu is set in stone each night, but that's simply not true. Hidden away are secret menus that only the crew and experienced cruisers know about. And if you don't ask, you'll never taste them. Here's how it plays out. On a Royal Caribbean sailing, a first-time passenger glanced at the menu and saw the usual entrees: chicken, pasta, a single seafood option. But across the dining room, a veteran cruiser was quietly enjoying escargot, something never printed that evening. On another sailing, a Carnival guest ordered creme brulee every single night, even when it wasn't on the menu. How? They knew to ask for the classic or always available dishes. These insider options often include steak, shrimp cocktail, Caesar salad, and rotating desserts. Why does this matter? Because the cruise line isn't going to advertise it. They want to push what's cheapest and most efficient to serve. But the higher quality classics are there. You just need to know the secret handshake. So here's your pro move. Always ask your waiter, are there any classic dishes or off-menu favorites available tonight? You'll be surprised how often they'll say yes. And once you build rapport with your server, they'll even start suggesting secret items before you ask. Most cruisers settle for the printed page, but the real dining experience, the one the crew hopes you never figure out, is waiting just behind the menu. Number 3. The buffet. First hour. Trick. Most passengers stroll into the buffet whenever it's convenient, but the secret is this. The very best food only appears in the first hour. Miss that window, and you're eating leftovers. Here's the scene. A family boards an MSC cruise, heads to the buffet mid-afternoon, and finds limp pizza, overcooked pasta, and a dessert station that looks like a tornado hit it. Meanwhile, just an hour earlier, other guests were enjoying beautifully arranged seafood trays, fresh-cut salads, and piping hot entrees straight from the kitchen. The early birds got the feast. Everyone else got the scraps. Why does this happen? Cruise buffets are built for volume, not for quality all day long. The kitchen puts out the freshest, most appealing trays when the doors first open, because that's when the majority of guests arrive. As the hours pass, food sits under heat lamps, gets replenished in smaller batches, and quality quietly slips. And here's the kicker. Many passengers don't realize this is by design. Cruise lines know you'll still eat what's there. But if you're chasing the freshest cuts of meat, the juiciest fruit, or the best desserts, timing is everything. So here's your insider move. Plan your meals around the buffet opening times. Show up early, especially for lunch and dinner, and you'll experience a totally different standard of food. The difference between a soggy slice of pizza and a perfectly seared salmon fillet, just 1 hour. Don't miss it. 4 premium cuts reserved for VIPs. Here's a secret cruise lines will never admit. Not every passenger is served the same quality of food. Premium cuts of steak, seafood, and even desserts are quietly reserved for VIP guests and loyal cruisers. Imagine this. You're sailing on MSC, and in the main dining room you're served shrimp cocktail as the highlight of the night. Tasty, sure. But a guest seated at a table nearby, who just happens to be a sweet guest, receives a plate with a perfectly grilled lobster tail. On the very same ship, same dining service, but with a completely different experience. Why? Because cruise lines prioritize top-tier guests, especially those in suites or high loyalty levels. They get first access to the best inventory. Why does this matter? Because all-inclusive isn't really all-inclusive. While the glossy brochures tell you everyone enjoys the same dining experience, the reality is that behind the scenes, supplies are allocated by status. If the best steaks or seafood are in limited supply, they'll never hit the regular dining room. So what can you do? Leverage loyalty programs, book specialty dining, or politely ask your waiter if premium items are available. Sometimes they'll sneak you an upgrade if they know you're celebrating something or if you've built rapport. Most cruisers assume the food is equal across the ship. But the truth is, the best cuts are reserved, and if you don't know how to ask, you'll never see them. 5. The secret. Breakfast in the dining room. Most cruisers make the same mistake every morning. They rush straight to the buffet. But here's the secret. Your cruise ship's main dining room often serves a calmer, higher quality breakfast that almost no one takes advantage of. Here's what usually happens. On a Royal Caribbean ship, the buffet is chaos by 8 a.m. Lines snake around omelet stations. Kids are grabbing pastries with their hands, and finding an empty table feels like winning the lottery. Meanwhile, just one deck below, the main dining room is open. Guests sit at linen-covered tables, sip coffee poured by attentive waiters, and order fresh eggs, Benedict, pancakes, or smoked salmon, all brought directly to the table. No lines, no crowds, no stress. Why does this matter? Because your morning set the tone for your entire cruise day. Starting in the buffet means stress, noise, and lukewarm food. Starting in the dining room means relaxation, fresh meals, and a vacation that feels elevated, without paying a dime extra. And here's the kicker. Many passengers don't even realize breakfast service is included in the main dining room. Cruise lines don't shout about it because the buffet is easier to run for the masses. So here's your insider move. Skip the buffet at least a few mornings and head to the main dining room. You'll eat better, save time, and start your day with the kind of experience most passengers never discover. 6. Cruise lines hide food shortages. Here, as a truth, cruise lines don't want you to know, when certain foods run out, they don't tell you. They quietly swap in substitutes and hope you never notice. Picture this. A guest on a Carnival cruise ordered tuna tartare one evening. The plate arrived, it looked fine, but something was off. The taste wasn't quite right. Later, a crew member admitted the ship had run out of tuna mid-sailing and substituted a cheaper whitefish without ever mentioning it on the menu. Most passengers ate it, never realizing they weren't getting what they ordered. Why does this matter? Because when you're at sea, the cruise line can't just restock. Every ingredient loaded before departure has to last the entire voyage. If supplies run low, especially expensive items like salmon, lobster, or premium cuts, they quietly replace them. You end up paying the same fare but receiving a downgraded experience. And the kicker? They're counting on most cruisers being too distracted to question it. So here's your insider move. Pay attention to the quality and consistency of what you were served. If something tastes off, don't hesitate to ask your waiter directly if substitutions were made. In many cases, staff will admit it if pressed, and you can request an alternative dish instead. Most cruisers assume they're always getting exactly what's on the menu. But the reality is, shortages happen, and unless you know to ask, you'll never realize you've been swapped into second best. 7. The extra lobster secret. Here's a secret that shocks even the most loyal cruisers. On many cruise lines, you're not limited to just one lobster tail. You can actually order as many as you want. The crew just won't tell you. Imagine this. It's lobster night in the main dining room on Norwegian Cruise Line. A first-time passenger gets one beautifully plated lobster tail and assumes that's it. Across the room, a veteran cruiser quietly signals the waiter, and one by one, more lobster tails arrive at the table, 5 in total by the end of the night. Other guests stare in disbelief, wondering how that's even possible. The answer? The guest simply asked. Why does this matter? Because cruise lines want to keep food costs under control. They know if everyone realized lobster was unlimited, demand would skyrocket. So instead, they serve one portion, let you think that's all you get, and move on. It is a quiet, cost-saving trick that leaves most cruisers missing out on one of the best dining perks at sea. Here's your insider move. If you love a dish, whether it's lobster, shrimp, or even dessert, politely ask for seconds. Most waiters are happy to bring another serving if it's available. The key is to ask confidently but respectfully. Regulars know the crew often honors these requests without hesitation. Most passengers finish their single lobster tail and think the night is over. But now you know the truth. You can eat like a VIP as long as you know the secret. Number 8, crew. Tip pools. Influence your meals. Most cruisers think everyone gets the same level of service in the dining room. But here is the secret. How you tip, and when you tip, can quietly influence the way your meals are served. Here's a real story. A Carnival passenger noticed their waiter seemed extra attentive from night 1, always keeping drinks filled, offering second portions, and even sneaking extra desserts. Curious, they asked why. The waiter admitted, guests who tip early or add a little extra beyond the automatic gratuities often get remembered. Those preferred tables are more likely to get the best service, faster refills, and little perks others don't see. Why does this matter? Because while cruise dining is marketed as all-inclusive, behind the scenes, crew members pool tips and share them. A strong first impression, like handing a server a few extra dollars at the beginning of the voyage, can shift you from being just another face in the crowd to someone the staff genuinely prioritizes. It's not official policy, but it's an insider truth many cruisers overlook. So here's your insider move. If service matters to you, give a small tip on day 1 of your cruise. It doesn't have to be huge. Even $10, $20 at the start builds goodwill. Combine that with kindness and respect, and you'll often notice servers going the extra mile for you throughout the entire sailing. Most passengers wait until the end of the cruise to show appreciation. But the real secret, tipping early can change your dining experience from average to outstanding. Number 9, specialty restaurants. Use loss leaders. Cruise lines love to brag about their specialty restaurants offering steakhouse dinners or sushi nights at what seem like bargain prices. But here's the secret, those cover charges are loss leaders, designed to lure you in so you will spend far more once you sit down. Here's how it works. A passenger books a steakhouse dinner on Carnival for just $42 per person. That sounds like an incredible deal compared to land-based steakhouses. The meal begins with a juicy cut of beef included in the price. But then the upselling starts, premium sides, add-on seafood pairings, and wine lists where a single bottle can cost more than your entire cruise fare for the night. Suddenly, what looked like a great value turns into a triple-digit dinner for 2. Why does this matter? Because cruise lines make their real profit in specialty dining not from the main entree, but from everything surrounding it. The low cover charge is simply bait. Once you're seated, the environment, the service, and the presentation are designed to nudge you into ordering just one more item. So here's your insider move. Before booking a specialty restaurant, budget realistically for drinks and sides. If you're not planning to splurge, stick to the included dining room where you can still enjoy high-quality meals. And if you do want the specialty experience, set a limit so you don't walk out shocked by the final bill. Most passengers think they've scored a deal, but the truth? Specialty restaurants are built to upsell, and you need to play smart. Type 10. Hidden room service fees. Most passengers assume room service on a cruise ship is completely free. But here is the truth. Hidden fees and sneaky surcharges can turn that late-night snack into one of the most expensive meals of your vacation. Here's how it plays out. A Carnival guest craving a midnight sandwich dialed room service, thinking it was included. The food arrived quickly, but the next morning they found a $7 charge added to their account, just for delivery. On other cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, certain menu items are free during the day, but suddenly carry fees late at night. And don't forget the convenience charges quietly added per order, even when the food itself seems free. Why does this matter? Because you may think you're enjoying a perk of cruising, but in reality, you're being nudged into nickel and dime spending. Late-night room service is one of the easiest ways cruise lines boost onboard revenue. And by the time you notice the charges, they're buried in your end-of-cruise bill. So here's your insider move. Before relying on room service, check your cruise line's fine print. Some ships still offer free continental breakfast delivery or select snack items at no charge. But for anything else, especially after midnight, assume a fee applies. If you're hungry late at night, the buffet or pizza counter may save you cash. Most cruisers think room service is a free indulgence. But the reality? Those trays often come with a hidden price tag, and unless you're careful, it adds up fast. 11 Buffet layout psychology. Most passengers think buffet lines are random. But here's the secret. Every cruise ship buffet is carefully designed to make you fill up on cheap food before you ever reach the expensive items. Here's a real example. On Royal Caribbean, the buffet greets you with mountains of bread, pasta, rice, and potatoes right at the entrance. By the time you get to the carving station or seafood trays tucked in the back, your plate is already loaded. It's not an accident, it's psychology. The layout is engineered to guide your choices, just like a grocery store puts candy at the checkout. Why does this matter? Because if you don't know the trick, you'll miss the very dishes you actually paid for. The cruise line saves money when you fill up on cheap carbs and you walk away thinking you had a full meal, when in reality, you skipped the premium cuts, fresh seafood, and specialty items hidden further down the line. Here's the insider move. Before you grab a plate, walk the entire buffet first. Scope out where the carving stations, seafood, and specialty options are located. Once you know the layout, circle back and make smarter choices. Not only will you enjoy better meals, but you'll also avoid that "why did I fill up on bread?" regret halfway through your cruise. Most cruisers pile their plates with whatever's closest, but if you know the psychology behind the buffet design, you'll eat like an insider, not just another hungry passenger. 12. Food waste is staggering. Behind the scenes of every cruise ship, buffet is a shocking truth. Mountains of untouched food are thrown away every single day. And guess what? You're still paying for it in your cruise fare. Here's how it looks. An ex-crew member once shared that trays of perfectly good steaks, untouched desserts, and even entire pans of pasta were dumped nightly because health regulations forbid reusing them. On Carnival and Royal Caribbean, huge garbage bins are filled after every meal service. Food that looks perfectly fine but can be served again. Passengers see abundance on the buffet line, but they don't see the waste piled up backstage. Why does this matter? Because the cruise line doesn't absorb that loss. You do. The cost of wasted food is baked into your cruise ticket, meaning you're footing the bill for the endless trays that get trashed, and the environmental impact is staggering. Thousands of pounds of food waste are generated per sailing, even as ships market themselves as sustainable. Here's your insider move. Be strategic about what you take. Don't be afraid to sample small portions first, then return for what you really like. Not only will you get fresher food on your plate, but you'll also avoid adding to the waste cycle that quietly drives up cruise costs for everyone. Most passengers assume unlimited means consequence-free. But the truth? Every untouched plate has a hidden price, and you're the one paying it. 13. Cruise lines push alcohol over food. Here's a secret most cruisers never realize. Your dining experience is designed to sell you alcohol, not highlight the food. The cruise lines make far more profit from drinks than from anything on your plate. Picture this. A guest sits down in the main dining room, excited for dessert. But before the waiter even hands out menus, the wine list is on the table and cocktail specials are pushed. By the time dessert arrives, servers are recommending after-dinner liqueurs or a specialty coffee that costs $12. On Royal Caribbean, waiters often spend more time promoting drink packages than describing the actual entrees. The message is clear. Alcohol comes first, food is secondary. Why does this matter? Because when ships push alcohol this aggressively, the quality of your meal can quietly slip. Cruise lines know drink revenue is a goldmine, so they focus their staff's energy on upselling cocktails rather than elevating the dining experience. The result? You could end up spending hundreds on drinks while overlooking mediocre food. Here's your insider move: skip the drink package unless you know you all truly maximize it. If you're more interested in food quality than cocktails, redirect that money into specialty dining or shore experiences. And if you do want drinks, set a daily limit so you don't walk off the ship with sticker shock. Most passengers assume dining is the main event, but behind the scenes, alcohol is king, and unless you know the game, you're the one funding it. 14 dietary restrictions get lost in translation. Most passengers assume their dietary requests are handled with precision. But here's the secret. Food allergies and special diets often get lost in translation once your order hits the cruise ship kitchen. Here's how it plays out. On an MSC sailing, a passenger with celiac disease requested gluten-free meals every night. At first, things seemed fine. Servers nodded, notes were taken. But one evening, the guest was served bread rolls labeled gluten-free. They looked identical to the regular rolls, and sure enough, they weren't safe. The guest caught it just in time, but it was a close call. Stories like this happen more often than cruise lines admit. Why does this matter? Because behind the scenes, dining rooms juggle thousands of meals at once. Requests for vegan, gluten-free, nut-free, or dairy-free meals pass through layers of communication. Servers to head waiters, waiters to chefs, chefs to kitchen staff. And in that chain, mistakes happen. For passengers with serious allergies, that can mean a ruined vacation or even a medical emergency at sea. So here is your insider move. Don a tea, just rely on your server S-word. Speak directly to the head waiter or maitre d' on day one and confirm your dietary needs in writing. Many experienced cruisers also request meals the night before, so the kitchen has time to prepare safely. Most passengers assume noted means handled. But unless you take control, your dietary restrictions could get lost in the shuffle, and the risk isn't worth it. 15. Dessert shortcuts the crew won't admit. Here is a sweet secret the crew want to advertise. Many of the fresh desserts you see in the buffet or dining room aren't tea fresh at all. They were frozen, shipped in bulk, and thawed on board. Imagine this. A Carnival passenger raved about the fresh New York cheesecake they had in the main dining room until a friendly crew member admitted it came pre-made, straight from a freezer box. On another sailing, trays of brownies were delivered from storage, already cut and wrapped, only to be placed on platters minutes before dinner service. From afar, it looks gourmet. Up close, it's convenience. Why does this matter? Because desserts are one of the easiest places for cruise lines to cut costs. Instead of hiring pastry chefs to prepare everything from scratch, many ships rely on mass-produced frozen cakes, mousses, and pies. That means what you were eating may not live up to the luxury cruise image you were sold. And while it won't ruin your vacation, it can leave you disappointed if you're expecting bakery-quality sweets. So, here's your insider move. If dessert matters to you, save your sweet tooth for specialty dining venues or premium restaurants. Those spots are more likely to serve desserts that are genuinely fresh and crafted on board. And when in doubt, ask your server which items are made in-house. Most passengers happily accept every dessert placed in front of them. But the truth? A lot of those decadent treats are shortcuts in disguise, and now you know how to spot them. You've just uncovered 11 cruise ship dining secrets the crew hopes you would never figure out. From hidden buffets and secret menus to upsells, shortages, and even frozen desserts, now you know the insider truth about what really happens behind the dining room doors. So let me ask you, which of these shocked you the most? Was it the unlimited lobster tail trick, or the fact that buffets are designed to make you fill up on carbs before you even see the good stuff? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear your cruise stories and tips, too. And if you found even one of these secrets helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe for more cruise insider strategies, and share this with a friend who's planning their first cruise. They'll thank you later. Oh, and don't go anywhere, because if you thought dining secrets were wild, wait until you see what's actually banned on cruise ships this year.